Hello and welcome to the Dot Connector. Well, what a week it has been. And maybe it's worth a quick reprise on what I've been saying these past many weeks. That when Trump came in, we would be given a stream of reasons very fast to think that he's doing all the things he said he would do and that we're winning. But behind that, I said, would come the real agenda of the Trump administration, which is why all these AI tech oligarchs were given prime places in Trump's inauguration this week. We would see the AI control agenda pushed very quickly, hidden by the look this way of we're winning. Oh, look, he's doing what he said. And then this is going on in the background. And I wrote this on the internet on the morning of the inauguration. Trump's inauguration day and a time to be highly vigilant and streetwise. You are going to be hit by so many reasons to think that Trump is a hero changing the world. That is a crucial stage one part of the PSYOP. The fundamental to the PSYOP is look over there while we do it over here. But from here on, I wrote, watch like a hawk the actions of the tech AI oligarchs around him. The AI control and human fusion agenda, deregulation to ease its passage, and the digital currency masquerading as crypto. Watch in general, I wrote, the fundamentals of the Schwab Great Reset presented as setting the people free. Fall for the Trump, Musk, Vance, Thiel, Sachs AI PSYOP in the next 4 years. I said, and it's over. It took only 2 days into the Trump presidency before this happened. Trump announces $500 billion AI infrastructure investment in the US. And added to that, which I'll come to as we go along, is the promotion of, wait for it, mRNA fake vaccines to treat cancer. So, 3 top tech firms on Tuesday announced they will create a new company called Stargate, significant name, we'll come to that, to grow artificial intelligence infrastructure in the United States. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman, SoftBank CEO Masayoshi Son, and Oracle chairman Larry Ellison appeared at the White House Tuesday afternoon alongside President Donald Trump to announce the company, which Trump called the largest AI infrastructure project in history. What they're talking about is a AI control system and human fusion system and a system of total AI surveillance. And if you look at the history of statements by Larry Ellison, you will see that that is exactly what he has been saying should happen. The companies will invest $100 billion in the project to start, with plans to pour up to $500 billion into Stargate in the coming years, this story says. Stargate will build the physical and virtual infrastructure to power the next generation of AI, including data centers around the country, Trump said. And Ellison said the group's first 1 million square foot data project is already under construction in Texas. This is your AI prison being built all around you while the Trump supporters cheer and chant USA, USA, USA. This is the PSYOP. As I've been saying over the years, and very much in the last couple of years, is that the idea is to target what were previously pushbackers of this AI control agenda, i.e., Trump supporters, basically, in the United States. And, you know, you've got the so-called left, the woke in politics that basically go along with this stuff. But you've had these pushbackers, so-called conspiracy theorists, who have been very wary of the AI control agenda. So what they've done is use Trump and Musk and all these other AI oligarchs to get you to believe that it's all about freedom and they're against the woke and they're against the globalists. When in fact, they're just going down the same road to the same AI control system, using different rhetoric and different excuses. And even I'm surprised at how fast 2 days it took for this to become clear after Trump's ascendance to the presidency. AI leaders have for months been sounding the alarm that more data centers, as well as the chips and electricity and water resources to run them, are needed to power their artificial intelligence ambitions in the coming years. And Trump will give it to them. Never mind the effect on the population. I think this will be the most important project of this era, Altman said. We wouldn't be able to do this without you, Mr. President. Bloody exactly. So this is how the mainstream media reported this announcement.
Together, these world-leading technology giants are announcing the formation of Stargate. So put that name down in your books, because I think you're going to hear a lot about it in the future. A new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure in the United States and very, very quickly, moving very rapidly, creating over 100,000 American jobs almost immediately.
What these companies are trying to do, this is OpenAI, Oracle, and SoftBank, they are trying to invest in the growth of artificial intelligence infrastructure in the U.S. That is data centers, but also the electricity, the water resources that are needed, the computer chips. These AI leaders have really been ringing the alarm that more investment is needed in this infrastructure in order to keep up with the pace of AI advancement that we've seen, and crucially, to stay ahead of China in the AI arms race. Because, of course, this technology is going to have huge implications for the economy, for military technology. And OpenAI CEO Sam Altman in particular has said it is going to cost hundreds of billions of dollars to get the U.S. where it needs to be in terms of this AI infrastructure. So this appears to be the start of that effort to invest in this. Of course, this could take years. These data centers don't just pop up overnight. And so this promise about 100,000 jobs, I don't think that we'll see that right away. What these companies are saying is that they're going to start with a $100 billion investment and plan to get to that $500 billion number over the next 4 years.
And being the mainstream media, of course, they missed the point of what this is all about. And one of the things that you are seeing and will see more of is, well, if we don't do it, China will do it, or they'll do it, or these will do it. So we've got to do it. In other words, it's inevitable that we have AI control, so get used to it. And these data centers are there as part of the infrastructure for the control that I'm talking about. And they use fantastic amounts of power. We've got people like Microsoft and others in the tech cartel who are taking over whole nuclear power stations to generate the power needed for this system. And you add to that the digital currency, human AI fusion, all the different aspects of this AI dystopia, and a fantastic amount of power is necessary. And at the same time, we are told, we the people, that we have to reduce energy use because we have to save the planet. So, Stargate, that's interesting name, because of course Stargate, see also Musk's Starlink and Starshield, which is the military surveillance version, government version of his Starlink. Stargate has an association with interdimensional movement, travel. And one of the things I've been saying over the years is that this AI agenda is not just about human control. It's also about creating the energetic environment through which the demonic that's ultimately behind this whole global conspiracy, the demonic can enter the human reality more easily and profoundly than before. So Stargate, I would suggest, is not a name selected by accident. It never is. Now, all these things, whether they're Stargate or Starlink or Neuralink or Starshield, they're all connected. And as I'll come to, part of this presentation was including more mRNA fake vaccines. And again, as I've been saying for so long, the fake vaccines are putting into the human body self-replicating technology, nanotechnology, that is meant to interact with the AI, so we have a human hive mind where we get our thoughts and our emotional responses from AI. Now, one of the things I've been pointing out is that this Musk-led Doge government efficiency operation is designed to a large extent to remove regulation that would get in the way of the whole agenda. And that primarily includes the removal of regulations that would slow down, at the very least, this AI control system rolling out. And, can't believe it, sits back in amazement, Trump revokes Biden executive order on addressing AI risks. US President Donald Trump on Monday revoked a 2023 executive order signed by Joe Biden that sought to reduce the risks that artificial intelligence poses to customers, workers, and national security. Biden's order requires developers of AI systems that pose risks to U.S. national security, the economy, public health, or safety to share the results of safety tests with the U.S. government in line with the Defense Production Act before they were released to the public. The order also directed agencies to get standards or set standards for that testing and address related chemical, biological, radiological, nuclear, and cyber security risks. Now, all that has gone thanks to Trump, which is exactly what the oligarchs that are running the show wanted to happen. And we've seen nothing yet. You'll see deregulation all over the place to ease the passage of what is the global cult agenda masquerading as opposing the global cult agenda. And it is a global agenda. You know, you've got Musk and Trump, they're having a go at Keir Starmer. There's plenty to have a go at. And although they're on different sides and they're, hold on. This is a story from this week. UK to become leading global testbed for AI enforcement. Keir Starmer, who attends the annual Davos World Economic Forum gatherings and is at the forefront of world leaders trained to introduce the Great Reset, Fourth Industrial Revolution AI agenda into his country, which is exactly what Trump and the rest of this mob are introducing in America, while claiming to oppose the World Economic Forum. You get the picture. Starmer has recently taken a major step into the abyss by announcing that his government is going to push AI into the veins of Britain. It could be Trump's talking about America. That's straight out of the World Economic Forum's manual for enforcing a digital DNA manipulation program for control of the human mind. And it looks like Sir Keir has been chosen to lead the way. Well, lead the way in Britain. It's happening all over the place. Quote from Starmer, "Our plan will make Britain the world leader. It will give industry the foundation it needs, and it will supercharge the plan for change," said Starmer. Yeah, the plan for change, the transformation to an AI-controlled society. And another quote from Starmer, "In a world of fierce competition, we cannot stand by. We must move fast and take action to win the global race." Exactly what Trump said at the announcement of this $500 billion AI infrastructure presentation. And like I say, this is a global agenda. So here is Javier Milei, the leader in Argentina and a wonder boy of the political Trump right. And it's a story that says that Milei's government will monitor social media with AI to, quote, predict future crimes. And this will be done through a new artificial intelligence unit. Are we getting it yet? Then we have this story from this week. Considerations for the use of artificial intelligence to support regulatory decision-making for drug and biological products, guidance for industry and other interested parties. This is draft guidance, when finalized, to represent the current thinking of the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, in America. And it says this guidance provides recommendations to sponsors and other interested parties on the use of artificial intelligence, AI, to produce information or data intended to support regulatory decision-making regarding safety, effectiveness, and quality of drugs. What we're looking at is AI taking over the decision-making of government right across the board without human input in the way that we've seen it up to this point. And it's happening while those that said they opposed it are cheering. Now, this is the other point that needs emphasizing from that White House announcement. Oracle chairman Larry Ellison, he's a shareholder in X, by the way. I think he put about $1 billion into it when Musk bought Twitter. He's a mate of Musk. He went further in his Stargate presentation because he talked about plans to use mRNA fake vaccines along with AI for the treatment of cancer. This would be the mRNA fake vaccine in relation to, quote, COVID, that has created an enormous surge in cancers, not least among the young. The same fake vaccines that have killed so many people and destroyed the health of even more. And now, day 2 of the Trump presidency, the man who claims to be the father through Operation Warp Speed of the fake COVID vaccine, on day 2 of his presidency, we have these AI oligarchs who are pushing the very same technology that's created such mayhem. And pinch me, ouch, it's true. So Trump was standing here next to Ellison while this billionaire oligarch said this.
Thank you, Mr. President. One of the most exciting things we're working on, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually seriously threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person, design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
If it wasn't so tragic, it's almost funny. but it's not funny. It's catastrophic and meant to be. And do you remember in the hype of Trump through the campaign and since, where the Trump supporters have been saying, oh yeah, what's going to happen? It's going to be great. Bill Gates, he's going to be arrested. Some even said he's going to be sent to Guantanamo for crimes against humanity. And what I've been pointing out is that Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeff Bezos, Altman, Musk, Trump, Vance, Thiel, Andreessen, all these billionaire oligarchs around Trump, they are part of the same team. They just have different roles to play. One's pushing it and one's claiming to push back against it while also pushing it. It's a mind game. It's a perceptual mind trick that's going on. And so many are falling for it. It's staggering. And so we've been told that Trump will arrest Bill Gates, even to Guantanamo. And now here's Bill Gates talking about a 3-hour dinner he enjoyed with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, in which they discussed more vaccines.
Have you met with Donald Trump since the election?
Yeah, I had a chance to go have a long and actually quite intriguing dinner with him.
What did you discuss? What was intriguing?
Well, we touched on a lot of things. It was over 3 hours. To my surprise, it was, just he and I, his chief of staff, Susie Wiles, and the person who helps manage things for me, Larry Cohen. So the four of us sat there, and it was quite wide-ranging. Global health's the area that I work in, and such amazing things have happened and can happen there. I spoke a lot about HIV and that the foundation's literally working on a cure for that. We're at an early stage, and so he, in the COVID days, accelerated the vaccine innovation. So I, was asking him if maybe the same kind of thing could be done here, and we both got, I think, pretty excited about that. We talked about polio, where we're very close to getting that done, but if you stop, it'll spread back. And so I explained why it's been tough in Pakistan, Afghanistan. We've had cases show up in Gaza. We have cases in Africa. And he was fascinated to hear what he could do to maximize the chance that during the next 4 years, that incredible milestone will be achieved. I felt like he was, energized and, looking forward to helping to drive innovation. I was frankly impressed with how well he showed a lot of interest in the issues I brought up.
Yeah, I guess he was just getting as much food down him as possible before he goes to Guantanamo. I've said so many times that naivety is the human disease. And never was that more obvious. Another thing that's happened this week. By executive order, executive order, what Trump's been doing from the moment he didn't put his hand on the Bible for whatever reason during his inauguration, he has been signing executive orders to dictate this, dictate that, dictate the other. People have said over the years, have warned over the years, quite rightly, that there is going to be a technocracy. They want a technocracy in which a a few appointed people, not elected, engineers, bureaucrats, technocrats, control the government and dictate the government and are the government. But if you look at the American system, it's pretty close to that already, because what happens is you elect a president, and then the president can appoint people who've never seen a ballot box in their life often to the positions of government, Secretary of State, Secretary of the Treasury, and so on. And what's happened with Trump is he has appointed David Sachs, a AI tech billionaire, to run AI tech policy and crypto policy. And Sachs is a mate of Musk. And he's appointed Musk to run this government efficiency department that will be looking to deregulate anything that gets in the way of the agenda. And so executive orders, there was a Bill Clinton aide who said once about executive orders, they're fantastic because it's just a swish of the pen, law of the land. And that's what it is. So you've got this one man writing these executive orders or signing them, and suddenly they become law of the land, or at least those that don't go against the Constitution. Maybe even some of them, we'll see. And he's doing this to impact upon the lives of at least 350 million people in America. And so by executive order, as he says, by the authority vested in me as president by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America, it is hereby ordered. This executive order establishes the Department of Government Efficiency to implement the president's DOGE agenda by modernizing federal technology and software to maximize governmental efficiency and productivity. Shall we go through that again? By modernizing federal technology and software to maximize governmental efficiency and productivity. What do you think that means? Government by AI. But then you look at this. The executive order talks about the DOGE structure, the reorganization and renaming of the United States Digital Service. So this new Musk operation is simply the reorganization and renaming of the United States Digital Service. Digital currency, anybody? Digital control system, anybody? The United States Digital Service, says this executive order, is hereby publicly renamed as the United States DOGE Service, USDS, and shall be established in the executive office of the president. So when Elon Musk retweeted he tweeted that the Matrix is going to be reprogrammed, you'll note not dismantled, but reprogrammed. Exactly. It's the next stage of the Matrix program, known by people like Klaus Schwab at the World Economic Forum as the Great Reset. Now, how long I've been saying that Elon Musk is not a genius, if only, and does not run his companies, plays video games and tweets like machine gun fire, and that he's just a front man for those in the shadows who are running the show. And here he is speaking on a Trump stage this week. And all I can say is, he's not a genius. I rest my case.
We're looking forward to making a lot of changes, and this victory is the start, really. What matters going forward is to actually make significant changes, cement those changes, and set the foundation for America to be strong for a century, for centuries, forever. So, and make America great again. Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, we're gonna do great things here.
What a joke it all is. And that guy claims to spend 80% of his time designing and engineering. He's a frontman. And the real power that's driving the agenda that he represents is all in the shadows and people you never see. And, I've got a lot of stick in the last, year or more now for pointing out that the alternative media that was before has been hijacked by a lot of people that have come in since COVID from the mainstream. And what they've done is transform the alternative media from investigating at its real genuine core, investigating what's happening dispassionately and without political bias, knowing that politics is an illusion anyway, part of the scam. And they've turned it into a Trump election campaign operation. And what they're doing now in the wake of this $500 billion AI and mRNA vaccine stuff is trying to do damage limitation as best they can. They're now, oh no, we're not sure about this. Oh no, you promoted the people that are doing it. And you have others who are claiming to support the AI agenda because suddenly it's a good thing when it wasn't before. And then you've got the approach of people like Russell Brand, who has been using in this speech here his newfound Christian faith to suggest that we should embrace technology because otherwise it will be taken over by Lucifer.
Now that we are tethered potentially to continual self, we are going to have to, I believe, learn new ways of understanding Scripture and new ways of receiving Him. Because as the Word was written in the language of its time, anticipating all time, for surely He exists beyond time and beyond space and outside of the senses. The ultimate reality is beyond the conditions of our reality as we appreciate and receive it. We, as inhabitants of this realm, are going to have to learn how to operate within technology. Otherwise, that technology, I reckon it could become pretty Luciferian. It could become a kind of false light.
No, mate. The Luciferians are those you've been promoting. And the Luciferian use of AI is what you are seeing unfold before your very eyes. And I just hope that people who've bought this hijacked alternative media propaganda nonsense all these months now will see how misled they have been and realize that politics is not the answer. We collectively are the answer, and we always were. But no. Let's buy the delusion, shall we? That Trump was saved by God so that he could make America great again. And one of the ways that this whole idea and propaganda has been manipulated is via Christianity. The idea that the idea that Donald Trump is a Christian and that God saved him in Butler. Now, I don't know exactly what happened in Butler, but what I don't buy at all is the official story of a guy who was shot in the ear with a decent-sized bullet from a decent rifle, allegedly. And yet the healing properties of that ear border on the bloody miraculous. So what exactly happened, I can't say. Certainly not yet. But the official story, not for me. But no, this was Trump at his, to watch, oh so painful, inauguration, repeating the nonsense. God is on his side.
The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you.
Yes, God is behind Donald Trump. I wonder if he's behind meme coins, because you're just about to be inaugurated as President of the United States for the second time. And of course, where's your focus? It's all on policy and what's happening and what you're going to do. Oh, maybe not. Maybe your focus days before the inauguration is on, as Trump did, issuing a meme coin and following that with another meme coin issued by his wife. And the second meme coin crashed the first meme coin, and lots of Trump supporters lost enormous amounts of money. So trash financially your own supporters just before you become president, thanks to them. This is the level of corruption and con man we have in the presidency, and it's about time people realized it. Now, for various reasons, this would mean, if things go correctly, that despite all those supporters losing vast amounts of money, at least one case, $1 million, Trump and his family will make a killing out of it. And if anyone believes that Trump is there, thank you, God, for the people, well, they've got a very large, rude awakening coming. So that's the public part of the Dot Connector this week. And I'm now going to go into this illusion of a ceasefire in Gaza and many other subjects. And if you want to see that, then go to Ickonic.com after 5 o'clock every Thursday. Right, let's get into this Gaza ceasefire, which miraculously happened just before Trump's inauguration. And I'm sure a lot of people have hope that it will lead somewhere, but that's not the idea. The plan has been to get as many Israeli hostages released as possible. I'm all in favor of that, of course. And there are other prisoners, Palestinian prisoners in Israeli jails that are being released as a quid pro quo, but they're going back to Gaza, so they'll get the treatment eventually, because this is not a ceasefire that is meant to hold. It's temporary before the slaughter continues. And Trump, while claiming the credit for the ceasefire, has also lifted all restrictions on supplying weapons to Israel. Why would you do that if you were looking for a ceasefire? You do that because you know it's a scam, and when it starts again, it's going to be even more horrific than it was before. And listen to this absolute contempt that Trump has for the tens of thousands of men, women, and children who have died in the slaughter of Gaza since that day that Hamas, which was massively created by the Israeli government originally, breached the border fence that's supposed to be the most defended border fence on earth. And you've got all those dead Palestinian children. And when Trump spoke to reporters while he was signing the executive orders in that blitz after his inauguration, this is the contempt that he showed for those Palestinian dead.
Confident are you, Mr. President, that you can keep the ceasefire in Gaza and conclude the 3 phases of this deal?
I'm not confident. That's not our war, it's their war, but
apologize.
I'm not confident, but I think they're very weakened on the other side.
Do you support the 2-state?
Gaza, boy, I looked at a picture of Gaza. Gaza is like a massive demolition site. That place it's really got to be rebuilt in a different way.
Do you plan to help rebuilding Gaza?
I might. You know, Gaza is interesting. It's a phenomenal location. On the sea, best weather. You know, everything's good. It's like some beautiful things could be done with it, but it's very interesting. But some fantastic things could be done with Gaza.
How do you see the future in governance for Gaza?
Well, it depends. I can't imagine you could have, well, you certainly can't have the people that were there. Most of them are dead.
I find that grotesque and horrific. And to look at what's happened in Gaza and to see it as just a piece of real estate, a wonderful opportunity to rebuild it as something else, is just beyond my comprehension. And of course, Jared Kushner, the lifelong friend of Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump's son-in-law, has made similar comments about what could be done with Gaza, brackets, when we've got rid of the Palestinians. Now, the one thing that you get with Benjamin Netanyahu is how things really are. Of course, like all politicians, he'll lie and he'll prevaricate and he'll mislead. Yes. But here, in this clip, he's telling you what the deal is. And that is that the ceasefire is temporary. And when it's over, the boys are going back in.
He was elected. Trump was completely committed to the release of the hostages. We spoke on Wednesday. He congratulated me on the agreement, and he emphasized, and rightly so, that the first stage is a temporary ceasefire. This is what he said, a temporary ceasefire. Towards the next stages of the agreement, we are holding on to some significant assets so that we can bring back all of the hostages, and in order to accomplish all the goals of the war. Both President Trump and President Biden have provided full backing to Israel's right to resume fighting, to resume combat, if Israel reaches the conclusion that the negotiations over the second stage are pointless. I truly appreciate that. I also appreciate the decision of President Trump to lift all the remaining restrictions on the providing of essential munitions and weapons to the state of Israel. If we need to resume combat, we will do so in new ways, and we will do so with tremendous force.
That's the real deal. And the rest is a smokescreen, a delusional misdirection. And then there's the West Bank, which is supposed to be the Palestinian West Bank, but of course Israeli settlers have been taking that over and throwing Palestinians out of their homes for a very long time now, to the point where the Palestinian presence is being deleted. And there's a lady called Miriam Adelson. She's a super Zionist. And she's the wife of the late Sheldon Adelson. Sheldon Adelson gave Trump $200 million for his election campaigns. And as a result, the deal was that Trump would move the American embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, which he did, and that America under Trump would recognize the Golan Heights, Syrian territory, as Israeli territory, which is what Trump did. And in fact, there's a town actually named after Donald Trump in the Golan as a result. So Sheldon Adelson, the casino billionaire, died, and his wife Miriam took over, and she has put $100 million into Trump's recent election campaign. And that's why she was given a pride of place seat in Trump's inauguration this week. But the $100 million didn't just buy her a good spot in the inauguration, it's bought the recognition eventually by America under Trump of the annexation by Israel of the West Bank. So it becomes officially part of Israel, and goodness knows what that means for the Palestinians living there. So we have this story, which fits perfectly with what I've just said. Trump lifts West Bank sanctions. US President Donald Trump has lifted sanctions imposed by his predecessor on extremist Israeli settlers in the occupied West Bank. Just hours after being sworn in for a second term, the Trump administration announced late Monday that the president had rescinded Biden's sanctions. Israeli Finance Minister Bezalel Smotrich welcomed Trump's decision, sure he did, stating, "I sincerely thank President Donald Trump for his just decision to lift the sanctions imposed by the Biden administration against settlers and activists in right-wing organizations. These sanctions were a severe and blatant foreign intervention in Israel's internal affairs and an unjustified violation of democratic principles." And the mutual respect that should guide relations between friendly nations. So it's all being set up already for Miriam Adelson to be given her wish of the annexation of the West Bank by Trump. And not surprisingly, this is giving the green light to the settlers and the horrors that they are perpetuating in the West Bank. At least 10 killed, dozens wounded in Israeli attacks across Jenin in the West Bank. 10 killed, more than 35 wounded, says Palestinian Ministry of Health, as violence rises in the occupied West Bank. The Israeli army said earlier on Tuesday that soldiers, police, and intelligence services launched a counter-terrorism action with terrorism, but gave no further details. So the attacks have been stepped up in the West Bank. Of course, you would expect them to do. And after this announcement of the end of the sanctions by Trump, they'll go into overdrive. This is just a glimpse of what's happening.
השלבים הבאים שלה לא יצאו לפועל. אז אנחנו נהיה שם בשטח כדי להגיד, רגע, המשאיות לא צריכות לנסוע אם אין להם תמורה, רגע, הדלק לא צריך להיכנס לרצועה, וגם
No, the Gaza ceasefire is not permanent. And what is happening in the West Bank is leading to annexation. You heard it here first. Now, Davos, the World Economic Forum of Klaus Schwab, has been meeting this week in sync with the Trump presidency. Apparently, he's going to speak via a internet link into the World Economic Forum today as I record this. But here's an interesting angle on Davos. It's a story headed "The Truth About Davos." Monday, January the 20th, saw the start of the World Economic Forum's 2025 meeting at Davos, Switzerland. This year's title is Collaboration for the Intelligent Age, the artificial intelligent age. And the World Economic Forum says the event, quote, convenes global leaders to address key global and regional challenges, such as responding to geopolitical shocks, stimulating growth to improve living standards, as if they bloody care, and stewarding a just and inclusive energy transition. Green New Deal, in other words, and the end of fossil fuels. There will no doubt, the article says, be much media hype about the fine words of various high-profile speakers, but little or no mention of an exclusive gathering of some 175 very special attendees held on the Friday of each year of the World Economic Forum event to round off the week on an appropriate note. This is the World Economic Forum's Shabbat dinner celebrating the Jewish Sabbath. Writes blogger Robert Scoble, Klaus Schwab, the founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, told me that it is his favorite event of the whole week. Well, I'm bloody sure that's true. You can't get in without a private invite, and it was one of those things that you just can't believe you're part of. I was pinching myself to make sure I wasn't dreaming. You mean it wasn't a bloody nightmare? Jewish Insider executive editor Melissa Weiss, who lives in Tel Aviv, explains the annual Shabbat dinner held at the conclusion of the week-long conflab for the last 25 years is sponsored by the World Economic Forum and hosted by World Economic Forum founder Klaus Schwab and his wife, Hilda. She quotes Rabbi Abram Berkowitz, who she reveals has traveled to Davos annually for 2 decades and is involved in the planning of the annual dinner. And this bloke, Berkowitz, says, when it comes to Shabbos, it's the end of a week of intense meetings and networking and business. So then people come to the last important meal. It's spiritual, it's purposeful, it's Yiddishkeit. Yiddishkeit means the quality of being Jewish, apparently. So enthuses Berkowitz, from heads of state to leaders of industry, emerging technology companies, AI, Nobel laureates, academics, it is an amazing amalgam of the amazing diversity of the Jewish people and friends of the Jewish people. And apparently this guy Berkowitz is an emissary for Chabad Lubavitch, the largest Jewish religious organization in the world, which maintains a network of over 3,600 institutions in over 1,000 cities spanning 70 countries. Chabad has been identified by Politico magazine as being close to the incoming US and World Economic Forum attendee Donald Trump. This organization is fundamental to the cement and the connections between, on the face of it, apparently unconnected people. It says here the town of Davos itself has notable Jewish connections. But it says another Chabad representative at the annual World Economic Forum gatherings is Beryl Lazar, chief rabbi of Russia and a confidant of Russian President Vladimir Putin. He seems to be very well connected. Financier Nathaniel Rothschild has said, I am very good friends with Rabbi Lazar. You stagger me. I met Rabbi Lazar in Switzerland at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and I was struck by watching this figure, and we eventually connected and started talking. And from there began a friendship, and I started visiting his center in Russia many times a year. And this is one of those, and it's a very important one, of those organizations that has its tentacles right across the world to manipulate events and manipulate people. And for that to be so important within the Davos World Economic Forum gatherings is par for the course, really. And not in the least surprising, but it's fascinating confirmation. Now, we've had these fires in Los Angeles, and they've kind of mirrored what happened in Hawaii, where whole areas were destroyed by the fires. And then suddenly, the people like BlackRock start trying to buy up the land. And, we're going to see a lot more of this. Of course, it's climate change. That's what it is. It's climate change. No, it's clearing the land so that you can then put there what suits your agenda for the world. And this is something I saw this week. It's former Wall Street broker Ross Mandel, who says the Los Angeles fires were planned. He says, I'm going to shock you. People from BlackRock are going door to door offering to buy homes. This is highly organized. You think this happened by accident? Well, no, it didn't. And it didn't happen in Hawaii by accident either. These are coldly calculated operations. And let's see what this guy said, because he's right.
I'm going to comment about this, and I'm going to shock you. People from BlackRock are going door to door offering to buy homes now. They say, whatever you do with the insurance company is your business. Fix what you want or don't. Here's a price we're willing to pay for your home now. BlackRock is going door to door. You think this happened by accident? The dams have been emptied by Governor Newsom for no good reason. The hydrants are empty for no good reason. LA had its rainiest season this year since the 20s. Almost 90 years, 100 years ago. It was the rainiest season, and there's no water in the reservoirs. 3 months ago, State Farm, the big insurer in L.A., just happened to cancel everybody's fire policies because the governor decided not to allow State Farm to increase their prices. So people now have no insurance. Do you think this happened by accident? One thing I learned over years on Wall Street, follow the money. Who's going to profit by this? Not who's getting hurt. Who's going to profit by this? BlackRock is going door to door, making offers now for cash. Generous. They want to take everybody's homes. This is the business they're in. It's not a secret. This has been highly organized. And as I've been saying, more is coming. Pay attention.
This is why one of the hardest things to get across all these years has been the scale of pure, undiluted evil that we're dealing with. And only when you grasp that can you open your mind to seeing the scale of evil that is being done. This whole response of, they'd never do that. No one would ever do that, is deleted once you realize the scale of evil that we're dealing with. These are people with no empathy, no compassion, who have no ability to feel the emotion that comes, empathy, from seeing what your actions have done to other people. They couldn't care less. And so destroying an area with a fire and then going in and buying it up because you get it on a few cents on the dollar by comparison with what it was worth standing there as a building. That to you is nothing. Whereas to you and me, that would be so emotionally devastating, we couldn't do it. Now, I'm going to finish because we're going to finish on a positive note. Because this week, a new test for COVID has been announced. And it's far, far more accurate than the one that they've been using. And it's a real step forward in knowing if you have this non-existent virus. And this is the lady who discovered it. And she here explains how it works. And I've got to tell you, it's genius.
My friend told me about a home COVID test. I'm going to share it with you, so follow along. It could save your life. Open a can of beer. Now what you do is you smell it, and then you taste it. If you can smell it and taste it, you don't have COVID-19. Last night, I did this test 19 times. They all came back negative. Tonight, I'm going to do the test again because I woke up with a headache, and I'm afraid I might be coming down with something. I'm so nervous.
I've tried it, and it does work. Absolutely. And I'd like to thank her for giving us this great insight into how you can tell if you've got something that doesn't exist. Anyway, that's it. I'll be back next week with the dot connector. And given what's happened this week, goodness knows what we'll be talking about 7 days from now. See ya.